The night was shattered at 2:17 a.m. by a sound that wasn't thunder, though my groggy mind tried to convince me otherwise. Living at Willow Creek, my family's land for 3 generations, I'd grown accustomed to nature's chorus owls hooting, coyotes yipping, the occasional deer rustling through the brush. But this was different, a deliberate, violent clash of metal on metal echoing from my front gate. Barefoot, I stumbled to the kitchen window, heart pounding. In the dim glow of my security light, a woman attacked my gate with a crowbar, her movements precise yet furious. She wasn't a random vandal. A measuring tape hung around her neck, a camera dangled from her wrist, and an old map lay spread across her sedan's hood. This was planned. My blood ran cold. 6 months ago, I'd moved here to escape the chaos of my past grief over losing my 9-year-old daughter to leukemia and guilt from a botched case that ended my career as a detective. I was Ethan Holt, no longer Detective Holt, just a man trying to heal. But as I stepped onto the porch, the woman looked up with triumphant eyes. Late 40s, sharp blonde bob, navy tracksuit screaming suburban authority, she spoke with rehearsed confidence. I'm Laura Mitchell, president of Clearview Estates HOA. That gate violates emergency access rules, section 7.3. It blocks a historic fire road, and I've got proof. She waved her crowbar like a gavel. I rubbed my eyes, fighting the urge to laugh at the absurdity of her destroying my property while preaching protocol. Ma'am, this is private land, owned by my family for decades. That gate only blocks my driveway, I said, keeping my tone steady, a skill honed from 15 years de-escalating crises. Laura smirked, pulling out her phone. We'll see. I'm calling 911 for illegal construction and trespassing. As she spoke to dispatch, I studied her. She wasn't acting guilty, she was performing, certain of her cause. The map, the camera, the measuring tape. This was no impulsive act, but a calculated assault. 20 minutes later, Officer Emily Rivera arrived, her flashlight cutting through the dark. Young, late 20s, she carried the cautious posture of someone still proving herself. Before Rivera could speak, Laura launched into a rehearsed speech, waving her map. Officer, this man's gate blocks a fire road designated in our 1960s community plans. I have evidence proving it's under HOA jurisdiction. Rivera, weary from neighbor disputes, turned to me. Sir, ID and proof of ownership, please. As I reached for my wallet, my fingers brushed the familiar weight of my old Montana State Police badge. The wallet fell open, and for a split second, the badge caught Rivera's flashlight. Laura's confident smirk faltered. Her eyes widened, and she stepped back, pale, as if she'd seen a ghost. I quickly handed over my license and deed, but the moment had shifted something in her. When she spoke again, her voice trembled. I want this documented. He's hiding something. I demand a full investigation into his background. Rivera, finding no basis for Laura's claims, issued her a citation for property damage and left. But Laura's gaze lingered on me, suspicion mixed with fear, and I knew this was just the beginning. The next morning, an eerie calm settled over Willow Creek, like the eye of a storm. While replacing my mangled gate lock, I found an envelope slipped under my door, HOA letterhead, my name in precise block letters. It demanded I appear before the Clearview Estates Emergency Property Review Committee within 48 hours to address unauthorized construction and suspicious behavior. The language was legalistic, weaponized bureaucracy. Laura had shifted from vandalism to psychological warfare overnight, suggesting she'd spent the night plotting rather than licking her wounds. By afternoon, her sedan was parked around the neighborhood, always with a clear view of my property. She wasn't hiding her surveillance, she wanted me to know I was watched. Through my window, I saw her snapping photos with a telephoto lens, documenting my every move. When I checked my mailbox, her camera clicked. When I carried groceries, click, click, click. She was building a case, hunting for patterns to confirm whatever she'd glimpsed in that badge. The pressure escalated when I learned she was digging into my past. My neighbor, 71-year-old Tom Grayson, stopped by with a six-pack and a grim look. Ethan, Laura's been asking about you at the hardware store, the post office, even the diner. She's saying you're hiding something criminal, asking if you pay in cash or act nervous around cops. Her questions weren't random, she suspected my law enforcement ties. Worse, Tom added, She's digging into your family history, how you afford this place, if you've got military or government connections. The chill of recognition hit me. Laura wasn't just fighting over a gate, she was unraveling my carefully built anonymity. Her masterstroke came the next day, a 3-page letter posted to every door in Clearview Estates. Tom brought me a copy, shaking his head. "She's gone nuclear, Ethan." Written in the tone of a concerned leader, it painted me as a shady newcomer with possible criminal connections and aggressive tendencies. Laura twisted the gate incident, casting herself as a brave defender of safety while portraying me as a violent loner. She hinted at my suspicious reaction to police and questioned how I could afford Willow Creek, implying hidden wealth or crime. The letter urged neighbors to report my unusual activities while the HOA verified my background. That evening, watching the sunset over the creek, I faced a choice. For 6 months, I'd been Ethan, the grieving father, hiding from the world. Laura's letter forced me back into Detective Holt's mindset. She thought I'd fold under pressure, but she'd just declared war on someone who knew how to fight back. 3 days later, a manila envelope arrived via certified mail from a local law firm, Harper & Sons. The lawsuit inside was audacious. Laura claimed my gate violated a 1962 municipal ordinance for fire road access, demanding its removal, $10,000 in damages, and HOA oversight of my property. Attached was a 1960s county map showing a fire road through my land, complete with seals and signatures. It looked authentic, but my detective instinct screamed fraud. The paper was too pristine, the lines misaligned. The next morning, Officer Rivera returned, looking uneasy, to serve a restraining order. The court mandated I keep my gate open during daylight hours pending the dispute. As I read the order, Rivera stepped closer, whispering, "Mr. Holt, are you Detective Ethan Holt from Montana State Police? I followed your work on the Grayson abduction case." Her awe was the recognition I'd fled. I nodded, asking her to keep it quiet, but the damage was done. Rivera hesitated before leaving. "Laura's been asking around the department about you, if anyone recognized you from the gate incident." Laura was closing in. That evening, through binoculars, I spotted Laura in the tree line, her camera trained on me. She wasn't just photographing, she was studying my reactions, building a behavioral profile. Tom later confirmed she'd overheard my talk with Rivera, hiding in nearby bushes. She now knew I was Detective Holt. Her strategy crystallized. She wasn't just after my land, she wanted to force me to reveal my identity or lose everything. The lawsuit, surveillance, and restraining order were pressure points to break me. But Laura didn't know she'd just leveled the playing field. My investigation began with county records and strong coffee. The 1960s map was a fake, based on a real document that showed no fire road but noted Willow Creek's 1963 survey for municipal acquisition, a fact Laura, with her municipal background, would exploit. Her employment history was chilling. Assistant Director of Municipal Acquisitions, fired for ethics violations. She'd spent 15 years mastering legal loopholes to seize private properties. Laura wasn't just an HOA tyrant, she was a predator. Cross-referencing her with developer Victor Big Vic Ramsey revealed a pattern. Laura manufactured HOA disputes, forcing owners into costly legal battles. Then Big Vic bought the properties cheap. Willow Creek was their next target in a system of legal theft. Court records showed their human toll. An elderly couple lost their home over a shed violation. A young family sold at a loss under crushing fines. Laura's HOA was a front for profit, fueled by her belief she was a victim of a system that ruined her career. A newspaper article detailed her firing 18 months ago for steering contracts to developers like Big Vic. Her divorce filings revealed debts and a foreclosed home, explaining her desperation. But Tom's revelation was the kicker. My great-grandfather's 1930s bootlegging tunnels under Willow Creek, rumored to hide valuables, were known to Laura's historian ex-husband. She wasn't just after land she thought treasure lay beneath. Then came a 3 a.m. call from my old partner, Mike Novak. "Ethan, Internal Affairs is reviewing the Delgado case. Your name's tied to witness claims you took bribes. There's paperwork and deposits they can't explain." The Delgado case had ended my career, and now someone Laura was feeding IA tips that I was a dirty cop hiding assets. That morning, I found my truck's tires slashed, Thief spray painted on my garage. Rivera reported neighborhood break-ins, with residents pointing at me. Laura was framing me locally while discrediting me in Montana, weaving a narrative of a corrupt cop turned criminal. Big Vic was digging too, contacting colleagues about my daughter's hospital stay, probing my mental state and finances. Laura's surveillance escalated to a network of vehicles tracking my every move. Mike called again. The IA tips came from someone with police database access and investigative training. Laura's municipal ties gave her a network to manipulate. A recorded call between her and Big Vic confirmed it. IA's pressure will break him. He'll lose credibility, and we'll get the land. Big Vic added, buyers want that creek access. If he doesn't crack, we'll get direct. I set a trap, leaving my garage open and moving covered objects to suggest I was hiding something. At 11:47 p.m., Laura's sedan, Big Vic's SUV, and a car with two fake lawyers arrived. Laura strode forward. Detective Holt, we know about Montana and your hidden assets. Sign over your property, and your legal troubles vanish. Big Vic handed me a contract 30% of Willow Creek's value, with delayed payment. As he threatened to expose me to IA, I pulled my badge. Detective Ethan Holt, Montana State Police, conducting an undercover investigation into extortion and fraud. Police cars surrounded them, led by Rivera. My surveillance had recorded everything. Laura's arrest unraveled her network. She was Elena Delgado, wanted for insurance fraud and her husband's suspicious death tied to the case that tanked my career. She'd recognized my badge, thinking I'd tracked her, not inherited Willow Creek. Her panic fueled her mistakes. Big Vic faced racketeering charges. The fake lawyers were unlicensed PIs. My Montana case reopened, clearing my name. 6 months later, Elena, in a jail jumpsuit, apologized at my gate, vowing to help homeowners post-sentence. The HOA dissolved, and I advised the new board. Rivera, now a detective, became a regular visitor. Sitting on my porch, I realized my badge, once a symbol of failure, was my salvation. Laura's paranoia made her see a threat where there was none, bringing down her empire. Justice isn't dead, it just needs someone to stand up. If you've faced corrupt authority, your story matters. Share it, because one voice can break the cycle.